What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with Backstage Choreo Live. I'm excited to be here today because we're going to be talking about some fulfillment choreography systems. Now, if you're new to watching these live streams, then I talk a lot about systems. If you're not into business systems and you're not into talking about that, you can peace out. It's all good. If you don't want to hear about that, I'm going to be talking about that a lot in the coming days. So if you have a business, if you're an expert, if you want to be an expert, if you're looking to improve your business, undo the Frankenstein that you've maybe already built in your business, then you're in the right place. And we're going to talk a lot about business systems. Everybody else, sorry. That's about as exciting as it's going to get. Now, I think that's pretty exciting because I love talking about systems in all aspects, whether it's your brain or your mind or your soul or whatever it is. I talk a lot about systems. So we're going to do that today. And if you like this live, you can let me know in the comments and or in the in showing a like or a follow or whatever it is, wherever you're watching this. Now, if you want to make sure you get all of these and see all of them on a regular basis, or even go back and catch up on some of the others, we do have a free community called Systems for Experts, and you could get there at systemsforexperts.com. It's free. You don't have to buy anything. It's all good. We got all sorts of free and cool resources for you there. Some cool courses and lots of good education about how you can improve the systems in your business. So without further ado, let's jump in. We've been talking about all sorts of different systems so far. And last time we talked, we were going to jump into fulfillment choreography systems. However, we had to pause for just a moment because we needed to kind of backtrack and talk a little bit more about an offer. Now, you're probably familiar with this by now. If you're not, and this is new to you, this is the Business Choreography Systems Framework, and this has a bunch of frameworks in it. We are actually squarely talking about the E7S framework. And the E7S framework stands for Essential 7 Systems. And that's because there are a set of essential 7 systems that you should be running in your business, right? The E7S framework is covering those. And so we've started to dig in and jump into the E7S. Now, let's jump into, I like to work on my cool little board that we created for this specific thing, which is mapping systems, and understanding what they look like really does help for those of you that are visual. We also do the written side of it so that we can map it out written wise as well. So you've probably seen me use this a bit, so I'm just going to jump right over here. And I just got tired of doing it from scratch over and over again, and so this allows me to jump in and out. We've talked about, as you can see over here, we've talked about traction choreography, and we built a basic one. We talked about nurture choreography systems, and we built a basic one there. We talked a little bit about conversion choreography systems, and again, we built one there. And then yesterday, I believe we jumped in and started talking a little bit about offers, because which actually fits squarely into positioning choreography. But we needed to kind of take a hiatus to talk about offers before we started talking about fulfillment choreography, because there's so much that goes into offers and creating a really great offer. And I'm not sharing my screen. That was really fabulous. The joys of being live. That's freaking awesome. Okay, well, that was hilarious. Okay, well, so let me say that again. We've talked about attraction choreography, and we built a basic one. We talked about nurture choreography. We built a basic one there. There's tons of systems, right? There's tons of systems. There is no one size fits all one, and system that fits everybody, because everybody has different businesses and different things that they're trying to build. And so it's important that we build these systems and build some of the basics so that you can understand how to use the basics of any of these systems, including the trigger, the process, the outcome, the proof. All of those things really matter. And like I said, we took a hiatus to talk about offers before we got to fulfillment choreography, because as we settle in here to build fulfillment choreography, this literally, I mean, there's so many different systems that could be built. And so in talking about systems for fulfillment, we are essentially talking about some things that could help you depending on what type of fulfillment you're doing. What is your product? What is your offering? Which is why we talked about it last time. And what do you need to build in order to make that work? Now, what I figured we'd do today is talk a little bit about a hybrid coaching / course type system. There was a period of time in the online internet world where building courses was like the new cool hot thing, right? Like, oh my gosh, you got to build a course. I mean, there are still so many people out there making their internet fame on having a course, selling a course, right? And there are some that will absolutely venomously say that courses don't work anymore, and that's baloney. Everything works if you build a great system around it, and and everything can work still. And it doesn't matter with the onset of AI, it really doesn't make a difference. AI is actually ruining everything. No, I'm just kidding. It kind of is. But at the same time, it's also helping a bunch of things. And one of the things that it's helping is it's helping experts be experts. It's helping them be experts and be able to get their impact out there faster. AI is helping experts and masters of their craft be able to do things that maybe a few years back, even a couple years back, weren't as accessible to the master of their craft. And you might be a master of your craft. You might be someone that's in business and have been in business doing your thing. And you might be on the internet, in the interwebs, as it were, and being fear-mongered by all the people that are saying AI is ruining everything and taking over everything. And you know what? It's happening. AI is coming. You can't stop it. It's not going away. But what we can do is utilize it to our advantage and to your advantage. And in that, selling courses still works. Selling coaching still works. People need coaching. People need courses. And the reason they need courses is an interesting one. Yes, you can go to AI and you can ask it just about anything. But if somebody else wants to gain a mastery at something, they would probably rather have the mastery of it coming from, well, you, somebody who is a master at it, somebody who is an expert at what they do. So what I figured we'd do for a fulfillment system today, because it really depends on your offering, right? And there's lots of different fulfillment, right? We could have, ironically, we could have fulfillment in over here on just a lead magnet and what the fulfillment is. Now, we kind of built the fulfillment into that when we were talking, but you could actually have a full-on fulfillment system based off of a lead magnet, which, again, depending on your lead magnet, really does depend on how much of a system you need to build. And any way you look at it, there is a system that needs to be built. So let's talk a little bit about what a fulfillment system might look like from a hybrid coaching / course type of offering. Why do I do that? Because I didn't want to just be like everybody else. I mean, I could have just talked about a course fulfillment or coaching fulfillment, but this gives you a little bit of a wider range of understanding of what you could do. And I think that's kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at what it is that you could do. And as we do this, it should give you lots of ideas. All of you guys that are in business, all of you guys that have done this or tried this, even if you're new, this should give you some ideas of things you could do. If you have an expertise and you're working on selling it, or you are already selling it, then creating something where there's a coaching / course that goes with it can allow you to get back some of your time. And I think that's an important element that you have to consider, is getting back some of your time. Because if you're always trading time for money, that's no good, right? But if you're trading some of your time for money, and some of it they can do on their own, and there's kind of like a go back and forth, makes a lot of sense. And if you think about it, when you look at masters in any craft, and I'm sure you are in yours, if you look at those masters, they always want to have some sort of interaction with the person that they are bringing along, right? But at the same time, there's a certain amount of actual work that needs to be done by the person that is the aspiring expert, right? So having a combination coaching hybrid / course kind of thing, that works really well. And I think that's a really nice stance for where AI is at these days, right? A little bit of both. So what I was thinking is, if we look at this from that perspective, let's just do the writing side of it for right now. If we look at the trigger, because all good systems, all well-formed systems have a trigger, a process, an outcome, and proof. You're going to hear me say it over and over again. I'm going to try to be a broken record. If you want a free lead magnet, since we're using all those terms, you can go over to systemsforexperts.com/ASF, Alpha Systems Framework. And you can get that framework for free. It's a PDF you can download. I like it because you can just put it on your desktop, or you can have that image visual. You can print it out. You can have it there as a reminder of systems. And it talks about a well-formed system, right? And why it's important, and what it's all about, and how you build systems as a general whole. And it's sort of like the roots, the guts of it all. Anyway, you can go over to systemsforexperts.com/ASF and grab it for free. And I think there's even a free masterclass in there that you can learn about that. Again, we're all about systems here. We want to teach you about systems and about how to build the best system. And really, it's about impact, right? So if I can help you get and create more impact, then I'm actually fulfilling the mission that I'm on, right? So let's talk about the trigger for this coaching hybrid, right? Or coaching course hybrid. What would that trigger be? If you don't know what this language is, that's because it isn't. It's lorem ipsum, which is just a placeholder, right? So let's assume that they've already been sold, right? We talked about conversion systems in the last live that I did. We did a conversion system there, but let's assume that they've been sold this coaching course hybrid. And so the trigger here would probably be the payment, and then there would be a confirmation email. And why is that important, right? That would be the trigger. The payment comes in. Okay, cool. We can use that as something that knocks off the set of automations and the things that are going to happen afterwards. And there might be a confirmation email that goes out. So it depends on the system that you're using, or the software that you're using, as to what would be the trigger for that. It could be that a payment got paid and then it triggers the rest of the systems off, or it could be that the confirmation email was sent to them, and that sending of that confirmation email automatically triggers something else. So it just depends on your system. If you were using like our system, which is Choreo Suite, if you want Choreo Suite, go check it out, choreosuite.com. And or in the Systems for Experts group, there's a really sweet deal for Choreo Suite. But that's the software we use to build choreography. And if you were using Choreo Suite, then what we would probably do is we'd probably trigger an automation off of the payment and then that payment would tag them, and then it would probably send them a confirmation email right away to let them know the first set of instructions, right? And so in Choreo Suite, the trigger wouldn't necessarily be the confirmation email. The trigger would be the payment, right? And that's a good way to go, right? So easy trigger. Another trigger could be, just as a side note, it could be you could manually start them, and that's, you can't ever discount the fact that you can always manually start it, but if you can automate it, if you can make things get in and get automated, then I would highly recommend that. That's just the way to go these days. It's silly to utilize man hours, so to speak, to do that. So then what would be the processes? Well, the first thing we want to do, maybe, and again, it's going to start with that confirmation email where you give them instructions, right? So we're going to give them clear instructions on what to do next. And some of those clear instructions might be, and I'll just kind of list them here. We're not going to get too formal here, right? But some of them might be book an onboarding call, and that might be it. Like it might just be, hey, you know what? Your first thing you're going to do is book your onboarding call. And, giving your new client one thing to do so that they can get some success. And it sounds silly, right? But just getting that first onboarding call, it's like, hey, great, you just spent the money. Good job. Way to go. Book your onboarding call. That's it. And we'll get you started. Right? Because then it's like, okay, I paid. And then there's a little bit of buyer's remorse going on. Always. It doesn't matter what it is. You buy some gum from the store and there's like, oh, should I have bought that gum? Maybe I should have bought the mints. Right? Like there's always some buyer remorse for everybody. And it hits fairly, sometime after you purchase, within that little bit of time. Sometimes it's, if it's a really big purchase, sometimes it's like a day later, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Right? When you bought your first house, you might be like, oh my gosh, did I just commit to that? Was that the right deal? Right? Like there's always some type of buyer's remorse. So what you want to do is you want to get them a quick win. And a quick win doesn't mean that you solve their problem instantly, but a quick win could be just that, hey, good job, you made a good decision, and now book your onboarding call so we can give you the next set of actions, right? Now from there, really good fulfillment is going to take them, and let's say in the onboarding call, we're going to give them all their first steps. Okay, so that's easy. So we give them all their first steps. Now you might have to go through and list them out. And I'll tell you what, we're using lorem ipsum here, but words are hard. And I can't express to you how important it is to read your stuff, write it. You can use AI to help you. You can use AI to even proofread it and check the grade level that it's at. Try to get it, at an appropriately low grade level so that it's really easy to consume. But what I see so often when I look at people's fulfillment processes, especially on the onboarding and shortly after, I would say that most experts give really poor instructions, which is really funny, right? Because you're really good at what you do, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily really good at giving instructions on how to do that for other people. Now, if that's your jam, that's cool. But I do find that many people suck at that. I found this so often in the dance world. I had, as I was going through my professional career, I had numerous lessons with championship level dancers that were ahead of me in their path, right? They had won championships. They were United States or world champions. And they came to give me a lesson, and they were the worst lessons ever. Why? Because they were really, really good at doing their thing. And they were really, really bad at giving instructions on how to do that thing. They're just like, do it. I mean, I remember clearly in this one lesson from a world champion that I had, and they were like, okay, do this. You're doing that bad. Do this. And I'm like, how do I do that? And they're like, just do this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Explain to me how to do that. I clearly can't do that. I see what you're doing, but I don't know how to do that. They're like, well, just do it. And I'm like, if I could have just done it by watching you, I wouldn't have needed to hire you. So we have to work on our words. And so that's the moral of the story, right? We want to give them all their first steps, and they need to be clear instructions. And so oftentimes what I'll do is it doesn't work all the time because my kids are getting older, but I would take it to my youngest child and ask them, hey, does this make sense? And if they looked at me too much like I had 3 heads, which sometimes they do anyway, because I'm dad, right? But if they didn't get it, then I knew I had to simplify it a little bit more. And that's not to be rude to the purchaser or the client. It's just that you're the expert. And so you have to meet them where they're at. So we want to make sure that we give them all their first steps and that they're super clear. Now, in this process, we might also tell them what's next, right? Now, if it were me, I would probably, since we're doing a coaching / hybrid, right? Their first steps might be to go and watch the first 3 lessons and then book your next call, right? So then we're doing another coaching call. But at the very least, I would tell them, okay, I'm also going to have a check-in call. And this is really cool, right? Like if you're newer and you don't have a team yet, I can understand how this could be a little bit hard. But if you have a team or anybody that can help with accountability, then a quick 15-minute, 20-minute check-in call from somebody on your team to go, hey, did you watch those 3 lessons? And are you ready for your next call? Right. And so you could actually gate that behind, the course. And you could say, okay, well, here's your onboarding call. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to watch these 3 courses. And then when you get to the end of that, it'll pop open a link and it'll give you a link to book your next call. But if they don't do it, you have a fail safe where maybe somebody on your team books a call with them or checks in with them and says, hey, did you do that yet? Because we noticed you haven't booked your call. Right, to get your check-in. Now from that check-in, you're giving them the next steps. So we'd probably do that again, and we'd kind of go, okay, on the check-in, here's your next steps. We're going to do the same kind of thing. Now you can rinse and repeat and do that multiple times, do it over and over again. And that really, really does prove to be really effective when you're dealing with a coaching / hybrid course kind of a setup, right? And then we'd probably look at that and go, okay, well, after that happened maybe once, twice, maybe 5 times, whatever it is, depending on the size of your system. Now you've got some accountability built in. You've got some direction. You're making sure they know where they're going. They feel like you care about them. They're also getting their coaching calls with you that are based. They're coaching calls that are knowledgeable coaching calls rather than just being like random and they don't know what's going on. They don't know your language. They don't know the way you teach or the way you work on things, right? And it also saves you from having to teach the same stinking thing over and over and over again. You teach it once and then you help them with what they don't understand or their unique situations. And that works out really, really well. So then what would you do last? Maybe a closing call. So maybe after they're coming to the end of their run and it's like, okay, they just finished the last 3. We're going to do this coaching call. Maybe you give them another assignment and then you book your closing call. And you could call it whatever you want, but your closing call is basically going to be what happens next. And this is, I can't even tell you how important this is. Like this one piece right here, like if you get anything from today, like add this to your fulfillment systems, because the closing call at the end of their course, you get back on with them and you're like, okay, let's go over this. Now, a lot of cool things can happen from that closing call. You can get the outcome, of course, that you were going for. Now, I kind of skipped it because it was sort of an assumption, right? The outcome is a transformation, whatever that transformation is, whatever the outcome is that they're buying for, or we're going to put transformation / goal, right? And the hope is that you help them get what they came for, right? Because then on the closing call, you go, okay, did you get it? And this is so great. And look at what you've accomplished. And you help them see what it is that they transformed into, right? Or what they got, what the goal was, what they achieved, what they were successful at, right? And with a coaching / course, they should have been doing that. And if you've been helping them all the way through, then now you're ensuring that they're getting it. Now, during that time, you can either ask for a testimonial there, which, by the way, is our proof, right? When we're looking at fulfillment, our proof is, testimonials and referrals, because you can ask for those on the closing call. And if it went really well on that closing call, you can also say, you did a great job. You accomplished all this. Did you know we have this as well? Would you like to talk more about taking the next step to do the next thing? If they say yes, then you go, awesome, let's book a time to talk about that specifically. And then you come back and you share with them the next program, the next step, the next phase, the next thing. Maybe it's a mastermind that you're going to sell. Maybe it's something else that you're going to bump them up to, right? But it's the next thing. Maybe it's your high ticket offer. Maybe it's the next course coaching program that you have, whatever it is, right? Obviously that is implying that you should have that. So if you're dealing with the Frankenstein right now, you're trying to unravel it, you're trying to figure out how to get things moving forward, maybe it's time that this piece of it is installed in your system, right? So that's a pretty solid way to go about fulfillment for a hybrid / course coaching system. And I think that's pretty cool, right? Like that's pretty easy to understand. It's pretty easy to gather what's going on there. I mean, we're not talking rocket science here. I don't know if I'm gonna, I have all my cool shapes, and I do like to draw and all that kind of stuff. But I think in this particular instance, I think the words are just fine, right? We're not talking about it being too hard here. If anything, we would be doing maybe a combination of like automations, right? So we come over here and we'd throw an automation here for all of that, and then we've got some calls, so we'll just grab a call icon here and we'll throw calls over here, because you've got a couple of calls that are going to be happening, right? We have some check-ins and we have some closing call here, right? So we've definitely got some call action happening here, and there's most definitely some automations that are happening in the middle here, right? And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, that kind of sums it up, just so that you have some visual there of what's going on. And it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And I know I keep saying that, right? Because it's so true. And yet I do understand how easy it is to get or make these systems complicated, right? But this is a really good general plan for this type of fulfillment. So let's stick with that. I'm gonna put that there like this. I think this is great. I'd love to hear more about how this has helped you, if this is what you'd like me to dig in a little bit deeper on, because again, I am talking a little bit hypothetical here about these systems. And so unless it was more specific, it was like, well, what's your thing? Oh, well, we could do this, or we could improve this, right? And if we're looking to improve your fulfillment system, let's say we were taking apart your Frankenstein, right? We've all built Frankensteins, and so let's not get let's not get crazy. It's not derogatory by any means, but we've all built them. And if I was going to undo your Frankenstein, if I was going to make it better, we'd of course figure out the triggers. I think in this particular instance, the triggers are not hard. We could actually find that there may be some other triggers that might be valuable. But we'd probably look at the process part of this system and see where it was broken, see where we could improve it, see where we could improve our clients' delight. I know that's such a weird word, right, to say, but it's kind of an old school word, and it kind of hopefully it makes you pause for just a second, right? We want to turn delivery into delight. We want to turn your performance, this performance of your choreography, of this fulfillment system, into our proof for later on. And we want your customers to become advocates of what it is that you do. And you know, like one of my old mentors, he always says, we're going to do something wild and crazy and maybe go against the grain. We're going to help people by actually helping people. But I know that's crazy sauce, right? Like, what? You mean no more snake oil? Yeah. You know, the early days of the internet were rough, right? Because there were so many, all the snake oil salesmen, right? The ones that would sell you something and you got nothing out of it came out. And now for those of us that are doing real things, we have to work extra hard to make sure that that we can get the message across, right? And that's the thing, right? That's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to get the message across that what we're offering people is real solid transformation. They're going to get their goal. And so you want to put things into your fulfillment systems that help them reach their goal, help them attain their thing. And if the process that you set up isn't getting them there, you need to know, right? Because that's going to affect you. You may get a few sales in the beginning, but as soon as people find out that it doesn't work, then you're kind of hosed, right? So you need to be able to have that check. So that closing call, putting that in there, putting in your accountability calls, those make a huge difference, right? It's really a big deal. So anyway, okay, well, you know, we could go on, and we will. Ultimately, let's finish cleaning this up here. We're gonna just grab this guy here, and we're gonna just pull this out over here, and let's see, we're just gonna go like that. Let's find out what the right size is here, and we're gonna push that to the back, right? And then we'll go forward just a little bit. There we go. All right. So we got ourselves a nice little basic fulfillment system for a hybrid course type of scenario. So we're just going to sprink that up there. Let's just group all that together so it stays good. And we'll just leave that there for now. So we've got these cool systems being built. Now, obviously, I'm having to talk about them, you know, individually and hypothetically, but we'll do some others where we pick a subject and we just jam on it, right? Where we just kind of go to town on, like, this is the business, okay? And you know, maybe I'll pull some of you guys if any of you want to come on live and expose your business, right? We can do that and play with that as well along the way. But anyway, we're getting some great feedback from you guys. I love hearing the feedback. You're welcome to write in the comments or like or subscribe or whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching this. But again, if you'd like to join us inside the free community, go to systemsforexperts.com and check it out there. Again, it's free. There's some cool courses that are about systems and about digital business fundamentals and minimum viable choreography. We have we give you access to a whole vault of masterclasses and training on different business subjects and principles. So go check it out there. Plus, you'll get access to these lives, because every time I go live in that group as well. So it shows up there, so you can actually know and get notified when we're doing the live. Not to mention, you can go catch all the replays. So anyway, without further ado, that is just a little bit of fun on fulfillment choreography systems. And so hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, as usual, keep choreographing your business, and we'll see you on the next Backstage Choreo Live. Thanks, guys. Peace out.